The Garlic Jr. saga takes place after the events of the Namek and Frieza saga. Somewhere on Earth, a tragic scene unfolds as an innocent family is brutally massacred by a ruthless gang of villains. These attackers are soon revealed to be the loyal henchmen of Garlic Jr., a vengeful tyrant who managed to escape his confinement. After enduring 10 long years trapped in the dead zone, Garlic Jr. has finally returned, and with his freedom regained, he wastes no time in putting his sinister plans into motion. Post Goku's victory over Frieza, peace has returned to Earth, allowing life to settle accordingly. While Gohan is out fishing, he encounters Krillin, who has recently begun dating a bubbly and somewhat airheaded girl named Marin. Krillin extends an invitation to Gohan, asking him to join a celebration at Master Roshi's house. Gohan is eager to go, but worries that his mother won't let him on account of his studies. Meanwhile, in the remote Yunzabit Heights, Piccolo is focused on his training, splitting himself into copies of 3 to hone his strength. He concludes with fending off a triple special beam cannon and is soon confronted by his counterpart, Kami. Recognizing the profound changes in Piccolo's character, Kami proposes that he succeed him as the Guardian of Earth. Piccolo, however, declines the offer and departs, but not before cautioning Kami. During his meditation, Piccolo experienced a troubling vision that seemed like a glimpse of the future, and he warns Kami to remain vigilant. While Kami is away, Garlic Jr. and his henchmen, the Spice Boys, launch an assault on the lookout, leaving Mr. Popo to watch helplessly. Garlic Jr. emerges much to Popo's shock and takes the opportunity to reminisce about his past endeavors. Shortly before Raditz's arrival, Garlic Jr. had used the Dragon Balls to wish for eternal life. Though Kami attempted to stop him, he was defeated. However, Garlic Jr.'s victory was short-lived, as the battle against Goku and Piccolo forced him to unleash his full power. During the fight, Gohan witnessed his father being pulled into the dead zone, triggering a surge of his latent power. This newfound strength allowed Gohan to overpower Garlic Jr., ultimately sending him into the dead zone instead. Declaring his intent to claim the role of Earth's guardian, Garlic Jr. traps Mr. Popo as he tries to escape on his magic carpet. Using the powers of the Spice Boys, they shrink Mr. Popo to the size of a small figurine and seal him inside of a bottle. Back at Kame House, the party is in full swing, and everyone is enjoying themselves. Yamcha questions whether Marin and Krillin are officially a couple, causing Krillin to awkwardly admit that they're not actually boyfriend and girlfriend. Seizing the moment, Marin begins playfully flirting with Yamcha, which quickly earns a scolding from Bulma. Later, Gohan approaches his mother, Chi-Chi, to ask for permission to attend the party, but she firmly denies his request, insisting he focus on his homework instead. Meanwhile, Kami arrives back at the lookout, only to be taken aback by the sheer destruction that is unfolded. Determined to intervene, he confronts Garlic Jr., who retaliates with a series of powerful strikes. Despite this, Kami manages to push Garlic Jr. back using his own energy. Just as Kami readies himself to launch an attack, Garlic Jr.'s minions intervene, catching Kami off guard. He's quickly paralyzed and imprisoned, joining Mr. Popo in captivity. Meanwhile, determined to join the fun with his friends, Gohan sneaks out of his house, climbs onto Icarus, and heads to the party. Taking advantage of his recent victory, Garlic Jr. discovers the infamous Black Water Mist, a sinister substance that, when inhaled, draws out and amplifies a person's darkest tendencies and malicious desires, embedding them deeply into their personality. Wasting no time, he releases the mist across the earth, determined to use it as a tool to enslave humanity and bring the entire world under his control. The ominous Black Water Mist spreads across the earth, setting a dark tone as a little girl is shown being infected by its sinister effects. The scene shifts to Garlic Jr., who triumphantly informs his deceased father that the Black Water Mist has successfully covered the planet. He then declares his intent to wish his father back with the Dragon Balls so they can reign over the Earth together. But first, the search begins for the two responsible for trapping him in the dead zone, Goku and Gohan. The focus then moves to Chi-Chi, who, as always, is upset and increasingly anxious as she begins to wonder where Gohan might be, suspecting Krillin's involvement in her son's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Gohan, riding on Icarus, is full of excitement as he shares his eagerness to see everyone at the party. Unaware of the mist's presence, Gohan and Icarus encounter a group of infected animals acting aggressively. They narrowly avoid exposure to the Black Water Mist by taking shelter in a small cave, and as time passes, they continue to their friends on foot. However, they're soon surrounded and attacked by the aggressive animals from before, but manage to escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Popo attempts to escape from his glass prison, though Kami suggests he save his energy. Popo, fearful of Earth's fate given the mist's effects, notes there may not be anyone left to save it. Kami then reflects on Garlic Jr.'s race, the Serpents, a race of spirits who work solely for their own satisfaction and seek to tear down the natural order of things. He notes that this time, the Serpents may be closer to victory than he cares to admit, and laments that Goku has been missing since his battle with Frieza on Namek. Suddenly, the Spice Boys locate Gohan using their magic, and Garlic Jr. issues a command to track him down. The scene transitions to Kame House, where the group is enjoying a relaxed atmosphere. Krillin is trying, albeit unsuccessfully, to catch a fish, while Yamcha and Bulma tease him, laughing and suggesting he should use the pointed end of the stick. Frustrated, Krillin snaps back, challenging Yamcha to try fishing himself. Yamcha laughs even harder though, replying that it's not his responsibility since he didn't promise Marin they'd have fish for dinner. Embarrassed, Krillin blushes as Marin appears in a tight swimsuit to greet everyone, catching the attention of both Master Roshi and Krillin as she's wearing it quite well. The group's peace is abruptly interrupted when a plane crashes nearby, revealing a furious Chi-Chi emerging from the wreckage. Chi-Chi storms onto the scene, demanding to know where Gohan is. Master Roshi innocently states that Gohan isn't there, while Yamcha grows annoyed at Chi-Chi for referring to the group as bad influences. Marin then takes the opportunity to insult Chi-Chi, referring to her as an old lady and continuing with sarcastic remarks. Chi-Chi's patience snaps when Marin suggests she doesn't blame Gohan for running away. Her anger reaches a boiling point, and a red aura, reminiscent of the Kaioken, flares around her as she furiously threatens Marin. Master Roshi attempts to intervene and calm the situation, but in his usual perverse fashion, he uses the opportunity to touch Marin. Offended, Marin recoils, declaring Roshi is even worse than Chi-Chi. Krillin hurriedly pulls Marin aside, but not before she insults Chi-Chi again, prompting the rest of the group to hold her back. Krillin explains that the woman Marin insulted is none other than Chi-Chi, one of the strongest people on the planet and someone even Goku fears. Krillin awkwardly adds, for what feels like the 11th time, that Goku is his friend from space. Just as things begin to settle, chaos ensues as the black water mist reaches the Kame House. While Krillin and Marin are underwater, the rest of the group is overtaken by the mist's influence. Before long, Gohan arrives and greets Krillin, but is soon informed that his mom is at Kame House and is more upset than usual. After some influence from Marin involving some guilt tripping, Krillin agrees to take the fall for Gohan disobeying his mother. The group return to the house as an ominous feeling looms over them. Chi-Chi appears behind them with purple eyes and an evil gaze. She viciously attacks Gohan, prompting anger from Marin and confusion from Krillin. Chi-Chi, however, is all but guilt-ridden. She continues her assault, crashing atop the roof of Kame House in pursuit of Gohan. Krillin, still assuming this is just a normal, angry Chi-Chi, is soon confronted by Yamcha, Bulma, and Master Roshi, who soon turn their aggression to him. Gohan questions why his mother is trying to hurt him for the first time, while Master Roshi begins chasing after Marin with ill intent. A confused Krillin fends off attacks from Yamcha, and even Icarus is pursued by Oolong and Puar. Gohan finally decides to defend himself, though he assumes he may have hurt his mother. At the same time, Krillin comes crashing through Kame House, warning Gohan that there's something wrong with their loved ones. As Master Roshi closes in on Marin, Krillin launches in and deals a devastating kick that flings him off into the distance. Suddenly, the arrival of the Spice Boys escalates the situation further. Gohan and Krillin quickly realize that everyone on Earth, except for a few, have succumbed to the mist's corruptive effects. Gohan deduces that the Spice Boys are behind the island's chaos, a fact they gleefully confirm. They reveal that the only way to reverse the infection is with the sacred water, but note smugly that Kami is on extended leave and Garlic Jr. is now in charge. Gohan recognizes Garlic Jr.'s name, much to the Spice Boys' delight. Gohan tries to attack them, though they collectively bind him with magic, shocked that a weakling like him could have ever defeated their master to begin with. Just then, Piccolo arrives on the scene with a massive ki blast and learns of Garlic Jr.'s return as well as the spread of the black water mist. The Spice Boys immediately shift their focus to Piccolo, preparing to attack as the chaos continues to unfold. The group's leader, Spice, proposes that Piccolo join their ranks, but Piccolo firmly refuses, stating that someone stupid enough to get caught in their own trap has no hope of taking over the Earth. Curious, Piccolo demands to know how Garlic Jr. managed to escape the dead zone, and Spice explains that it was all due to the Machio star. This celestial body, which serves as a source of power, approaches Earth every 12,000 years. As the star draws closer, it activates the dormant powers of the serpents, significantly enhancing their strength. Garlic Jr. harnessed this immense power surge to break free from the dead zone. One of the Spice Boys, Mustard, once again tries to persuade Piccolo to join their side, taunting him with the idea of being revered and worshipped by those under the influence of the Blackwater Mist, as they're destined to remain that way permanently. Salt cuts in, backing up Mustard's claim by explaining that after 24 hours, the effects of the mist become irreversible, solidifying the transformation forever. Spice demands that Piccolo make his decision, but instead of answering directly, the Namekian responds with a confident laugh. Without a word, he begins removing his weighted clothing, signaling his readiness to fight. This bold move infuriates the other Spice Boy, Vinegar, who grows visibly angered by Piccolo's defiance. Piccolo immediately launches an attack on the Spice Boys, but an infected Yamcha intercepts him. Meanwhile, Krillin is desperately trying to protect Marin from the relentless assaults of the infected Master Roshi, Chi-Chi, and Bulma. Just as things look grim for Marin, Icarus swoops in at the perfect moment, carrying her to safety. While fending off Yamcha's attacks, Piccolo orders Gohan to head to the lookout to retrieve the sacred water, the only cure capable of restoring the infected back to normal. Though initially hesitant, Gohan takes off, with Krillin following along. Piccolo stays behind to hold off the attackers, regrettably noting he'll need to exterminate them. However, he's suddenly caught off guard as the Spice Boys emerge from underground and grab hold of him, leaving him vulnerable. Taking advantage of the situation, an infected Yamcha sinks his teeth into Piccolo. Reacting quickly, Piccolo strikes Yamcha away, but before he can recover, more of the Spice Boys pile on, restraining him further. This allows both Bulma and Master Roshi to bite him as well. Seeing Piccolo in serious danger, Gohan begins to turn back to help, but Piccolo musters his strength to blast his attackers away, creating a momentary reprieve. Exhausted and visibly weakened, he shouts for Gohan to keep going and not to look back. As Gohan reluctantly continues his mission, Piccolo is once again overwhelmed by the relentless onslaught and ultimately succumbs to another vicious bite. On their journey to the lookout, Gohan and Krillin are unexpectedly joined by Marin, who insists on tagging along. Krillin initially protests, warning her of the danger, but quickly caves after Marin threatens to break up with him if she isn't allowed to go. Back at Kame House, Vinegar remarks on the idea of killing Piccolo, but Spice quickly points out that doing so would render the Dragon Balls useless to them. He then reveals that with Piccolo now bitten, it's only a matter of time before he fully succumbs and becomes one of their own. As if on cue, Piccolo rises to his feet, now transformed into one of the infected. Meanwhile, on a distant planet, Vegeta confronts its inhabitants, former allies of the Frieza Force. Ruthlessly, he annihilates all but one, interrogating the survivor about Goku's whereabouts. When he claims to know nothing about Goku and remarks that Frieza will make Vegeta pay, the Saiyan Prince reveals that Frieza is dead, killed by the Saiyan Goku. Vegeta kills the remaining survivor, continuing his relentless search for answers and his burning desire to uncover the secret to becoming a Super Saiyan. Upon arriving at the lookout, Gohan, Krillin, and Marin are greeted by Yajirobe and Korin. Korin reads their minds and directs Gohan and Krillin to retrieve the sacred water from the palace above, the two leaving Marin behind. However, as they ascend to the palace, they're met by Garlic Jr., who blocks their path. Rushing forward to attack, they're abruptly stopped by the arrival of an infected Piccolo, standing alongside the Spice Boys, ready to confront them. Garlic Jr. steps out from the lookout, demanding that Gohan reveal Goku's whereabouts. Gohan refuses and, powering up, launches an attack on Garlic Jr., who narrowly evades the strike. Garlic Jr., dismissing Gohan as no real threat, turns his back and begins to walk away. However, the attack he narrowly avoided left a small cut on his cheek, a detail that momentarily stops him in his tracks. As he touches the wound, Garlic Jr. recalls Gohan's remarkable ability to challenge his powers, reflecting on their first encounter when the boy's unexpected strength sent him hurtling into the dead zone. Determined to end things, Gohan charges up a Masenko, preparing to fire it directly at Garlic Jr. However, before Gohan can release the blast, Garlic Jr. cunningly holds up the container housing the miniature Kami, forcing Gohan to hesitate and back down. Taking advantage of the moment, Salt leaps into the fray, landing a powerful strike that sends Gohan crashing to the ground. Krillin rushes to assist, but is quickly intercepted by Mustard, who delivers a punch that leaves him reeling. Meanwhile, Garlic Jr. uses his powers to conjure a throne for himself inside the palace, settling in as he commands Salt and Mustard to toy with their opponents until Goku arrives, reserving the final blow for himself. At the same time, Gohan observes an infected Piccolo, lunging like a rabid dog at the chance to fight him. Outmatched, Gohan and Krillin struggle to keep up, pummeled severely by Salt and Mustard. In a desperate act of heroism, Krillin rushes in and takes a direct hit from Salt to protect Gohan. Elsewhere, Marin performs a workout, catching the attention of Korin and Yajirobe, who she charms into preparing a meal for her. In the kitchen, the two argue over who will win Marin's favor as they work together to cook up a feast. Back on the battlefield, however, Krillin, having took the full force of Salt's attack, succumbs to the pain and collapses unconscious. Gohan, with newfound resolve, prepares himself for round 2. Meanwhile, out in space, Vegeta continues his relentless training to achieve the legendary status of Super Saiyan. Frustrated by his lack of progress, he channels his anger into his efforts. Suddenly, he senses a presence on a nearby planet and, believing it to be Goku, flies toward it. However, as he approaches, an asteroid obstructs his path. Vegeta powers up and destroys the asteroid with ease, but by the time he reaches his destination, the presence he had sensed has vanished. Undeterred, Vegeta vows to grow even stronger before resuming his search. Back at the lookout, Gohan, enraged by Krillin's injuries, unleashes an even greater surge of power. Salt and Mustard, believing that a 2-on-1 is their best option, attack him simultaneously with a powerful ki blast, triggering a massive explosion. However, Gohan emerges completely unharmed, shocking his enemies. Channeling his newfound strength, he eliminates Salt with a powerful Masenko. Mustard attempts to retaliate, but Gohan's strength proves overwhelming, and he's eliminated with the same technique. Turning his attention back to Garlic Jr., Gohan prepares to confront him once more, only for Spice to release his hold on an infected Piccolo. Caught off guard, Gohan is attacked by his former ally, leaving him stunned. Gohan endures a relentless assault from Piccolo, struggling to hold his ground as Garlic Jr. watches in amusement from his throne. Piccolo strikes Gohan, sending him flying, but is abruptly stopped by Spice and Vinegar, with Spice confidently stating they can handle things from here. As the two prepare to finish Gohan off with ki blasts, Piccolo defies their orders and charges back into the fray, resuming his relentless assault on Gohan. His unexpected actions catch them off guard, prompting Vinegar to question Piccolo's motives. Spice rationalizes Piccolo's behavior, speculating that the black water mist has amplified his suppressed hatred for Gohan, driving him to act out on his own. As Piccolo closes in on Gohan, the boy finally musters the courage to fight back. However, his efforts fall short, and Piccolo continues to dominate the battle. Meanwhile, Krillin attempts to free Kami and Mr. Popo from their imprisoned state, but his progress is thwarted by a protective force field around Garlic Jr. Amused and offended by Krillin's persistence, Garlic Jr. retaliates. Using only his feet, he delivers a devastating series of strikes, knocking Krillin out of the throne room and leaving him incapacitated. Back on the battlefield, Gohan is struggling against Piccolo, desperately trying to hold his own. Simultaneously, Garlic Jr. charges up a powerful blast, preparing to deliver the finishing blow to the helpless Krillin. As the energy blast surges toward its target, Gohan's latent power suddenly erupts, unleashing a surge of energy that forces Piccolo into the path of the attack instead. Horrified, Gohan believes Piccolo to have been killed by the blast. However, Piccolo surprises everyone by springing back into action. Instead of going after Gohan, he grabs Krillin, whom the injured warrior had tried to shield from harm. To everyone's shock, Piccolo appears to bite Krillin and then tosses him aside, leaving the impression that the black water mist might now be taking its full effect on him, potentially sealing Krillin's fate as well. Meanwhile, on Korin Tower, Marin, Yajirobe, and Korin are engaged in a game of poker. During the game, Marin wins a significant prize, the Cat Bell, an item that grants access to the lookout, the same bell Goku used during his first visit there. As the game continues, Korin ups the stakes by placing the power pole as his next bet, casually claiming it to be nothing more than a letter opener. Back on the lookout, the situation grows increasingly grim as Gohan desperately tries to bring Krillin back to consciousness. Before he can make progress, Piccolo intervenes, launching an energy beam directly at Gohan. Struggling to hold it back, Gohan is ultimately sent hurtling into a dark room within the lookout, though he manages to redirect the blast skyward at the last moment. Meanwhile, Krillin begins to stir, slowly regaining consciousness as Garlic Jr. and the Spice Boys closely observe the escalating battle. Piccolo, relentless and showing no signs of exhaustion, resumes his assault on Gohan. The young warrior is knocked through various structures as he continues his desperate attempts to defend himself, but Piccolo's anger only intensifies. In his fury, Piccolo splits into 3 separate clones and attacks Gohan from all sides, further wearing him down. The relentless onslaught sends Gohan crashing into another part of the lookout, where he suddenly finds himself face to face with Garlic Jr. Spotting Garlic Jr., Gohan quickly gathers his strength, preparing to attack. However, his path is immediately blocked by Spice and Vinegar. Acting swiftly, Vinegar charges at Gohan, delivering a powerful punch that sends him flying once again. This time, Gohan lands in front of Krillin, who has now joined the fray. However, Krillin has succumbed to the effects of the black water mist, leaving Gohan as Earth's last remaining hope. The situation grows worse, with no clear way to defeat Garlic Jr. Everyone, except the tyrant himself, charges at Gohan in an effort to finish him off. Leading the assault are Piccolo and Krillin, who appear intent on delivering the final blows. Gohan, now battered and unconscious, lies vulnerable as Garlic Jr. smugly lowers his guard, preparing to strike the finishing blow. However, in a sudden turn of events, Piccolo seizes the moment, grabbing the bottles containing the miniature Kami and Mr. Popo. Without hesitation, he tosses them to Krillin, who promptly frees them, exposing the truth that Piccolo was never actually under the influence of the Blackwater Mist. Krillin, still concerned for the injured Gohan, expresses his worry, but Piccolo calmly reassures him, stating that Gohan is tougher than he looks and has endured far worse during their training sessions. With Kami and Mr. Popo now freed, the tide begins to turn in favor of the heroes. Yet, despite this newfound advantage, the battle is far from over. Gohan regains consciousness, confused on what's going on. Krillin reassures him that everything is fine, and that their supposed allegiance to Garlic Jr. has been a ruse all along. During Piccolo's confrontation with Krillin, he secretly whispered his plan and instructed him to play along. Piccolo explains that pretending to be under the Mist's control was the only way to get close enough to Garlic Jr. to free Kami and unleash his full power, as Kami and Piccolo's fates are intrinsically linked. It's also revealed that Piccolo's immunity to the Blackwater Mist stems from his Namekian heritage. Piccolo orders Kami to release the sacred water, but Garlic Jr. bursts into laughter and reveals a grim truth. At dawn, anyone under the Blackwater Mist's influence will be permanently enslaved by its spell. The scene shifts to a burning city filled with chaos, where a boy and girl are seen running for safety. They take refuge in a dark alley, with the girl expressing her fear. Suddenly, a swarm of cats and rats rush from the darkness and attack the two. The camera pans to the girl's lone shoe, hinting at her fate, before the view shifts skyward to reveal the ominous red Machio star looming in space. Back at the lookout, Mr. Popo suggests a faster way to distribute the sacred water across the globe. He explains that the 7 air currents located within Kami's lookout can carry the water and restore the population to normal before the mist's effects become irreversible. Mr. Popo and Kami prepare to depart for the air currents, but Popo warns that the path is perilous and may involve encounters with the past guardians of Earth. As they embark on the magic carpet, Garlic Jr. fires a blast to slow them down, and the 2 remaining Spice Boys, Spice and Vinegar, fly up to attack them. However, Krillin and Gohan intervene just in time to stop the assault. Garlic Jr. fires another blast, but Piccolo swats it away and unleashes a barrage of attacks on. Garlic Jr. retaliates, and he's distracted long enough for Kami and Mr. Popo to make their escape. Meanwhile in space, Vegeta unleashes a devastating blast that ravages a planet. Once the dust settles, Vegeta demands that the Apu-like aliens swear their loyalty to him. When they retaliate with ray guns, Vegeta effortlessly counters by sending his energy through the planet's surface, destroying them all with a single attack. The Saiyan Prince then continues his search for Goku. Back at Kami's lookout, while Piccolo and Garlic Jr. continue their battle, Krillin takes on Vinegar while Gohan fends off attacks from Spice, including a sneak attack involving trapping the boy with his hair. Piccolo attempts to grab Garlic Jr. by extending his arm, following up with a powerful special beam cannon. At the same time, Krillin uses a Destructo Disc on Vinegar, who catches it and throws it back. When Krillin gets distracted, Vinegar launches in and deals devastating blows, knocking him out. At that moment, Gohan escapes Spice's hold and fires a blast at Vinegar, while Krillin recovers and delivers a headbutt to Spice, followed by Gohan landing an uppercut that impales Spice on the palace wall. Piccolo gains the upper hand against Garlic Jr., who, despite being on the losing side, remains arrogant. Piccolo relentlessly attacks him, sending him crashing through several walls. Meanwhile, Kami and Mr. Popo fly on a carpet through an area filled with space-like structures. As they continue through what appears to be outer space, Mr. Popo mentions that they're getting closer to their destination. Outside, Garlic Jr., injured, points to the sky and reveals his ace, the Machio star above. He explains that its proximity to Earth is continuing to fuel him, and with its overwhelming influence, he'll be 10 times more powerful than he's ever been before. As Garlic Jr. begins powering up, Spice and Vinegar regain consciousness, realizing he's about to evolve into something far stronger. Realizing the situation, Piccolo urgently tells Gohan and Krillin to retreat as Garlic Jr. moves into his final transformation. Inside the lookout, Kami and Mr. Popo arrive at a door, and Mr. Popo cautiously opens it. Back outside, the dust from Garlic Jr.'s transformation clears, showing that the lookout is now completely in ruin. Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo pull themselves out from the rubble, only to come face to face with Spice and Vinegar, who have recovered, as well as Garlic Jr. in his transformed state. The scene then cuts back to Kami and Mr. Popo as they enter the mysterious room. A shadowy figure emerges and attacks Kami, prompting Mr. Popo to question its identity. With the Machio star fueling their strength, the Spice Boys transform alongside Garlic Jr., the trio now reaching the peak of their maximum power. The situation looks increasingly dire for the Dragon Team as Spice and Vinegar put on a calculated display of their enhanced abilities. Krillin and Gohan are left completely awestruck by their overwhelming power, while Piccolo struggles to keep up with Garlic Jr. in a fierce, evenly matched battle. Meanwhile, Kami and Mr. Popo continue their desperate journey, pushing through the unknown obstacles in their path. As they navigate the treacherous terrain, Kami fights to stay conscious, aware that if he succumbs to exhaustion in this place, he may never wake up again. The shadowy figure from earlier is revealed to be one of the past guardians of Earth, who refuses to let Kami or Popo complete their mission. Though they, like the others, are fighting for their own survival, the weight of the entire planet rests on their shoulders. With this in mind, Kami and Mr. Popo press forward while Gohan and Krillin, despite their best efforts, struggle to hold their own against the Spice Boys. The damage to the lookout worsens, and in the midst of losing consciousness from his injuries, Vinegar lands a devastating kick that sends Krillin plummeting off the edge. Gohan reacts instantly, racing to catch him, but before he can reach his friend, the Spice Boys launch a coordinated attack, forcing him to stop. With the odds stacked against him, Gohan's frustration and desperation reach a boiling point. Believing Krillin is about to die, he leaps into his immense power, unleashing a furious double Masenko that incinerates both Spice and Vinegar, eliminating them for good. Meanwhile, Garlic Jr. continues his fight against Piccolo, now gaining the upper hand and fully convinced that he's already won. Overcome with arrogance, he begins shouting and laughing, boasting about his impending victory victory and the supposed demise of his opponent. However, his celebration is cut short when Gohan returns, carrying an unconscious Krillin. Garlic Jr. comments on Gohan's strength, noting that he wouldn't have believed it if he hadn't witnessed it for himself. Before he can process the shift in momentum though, Piccolo emerges from the rubble, unscathed and ready to challenge Garlic Jr. once again. Gathering his strength, Piccolo powers up, expanding his energy in preparation for the next round of battle. As this showdown unfolds, Kami and Mr. Popo remain on the move, only to suddenly collide with an invisible barrier. Mr. Popo warns that they cannot proceed without the approval of the past guardians of Earth, but Kami, unwilling to waste time, blasts through the obstruction and continues forward. Their escape is short-lived, however, as Kami stumbles and begins to fade, his hand slowly disappearing. At the same time, Piccolo, still locked in combat with Garlic Jr., experiences the same phenomenon, his body flickering as his connection to Kami weakens. A group of former guardians appears and seizes Kami, accelerating his vanishing state. This, in turn, diminishes Piccolo's advantage against Garlic Jr. Fueled by sheer determination, Kami breaks free in a sudden surge of energy, blasting away the force attempting to hold him back. Piccolo then unleashes an unrelenting assault on Garlic Jr. in an attempt to finish things quickly. As Kami and Mr. Popo near yet another barrier, Kami, now fully aware of his strength, easily destroys it without hesitation. The Guardian, however, is nearly sapped of his strength. Back at the lookout, Piccolo struggles against Garlic Jr., his fading body making it increasingly difficult to fight. Gohan questions what's going on and Krillin regains consciousness, informing Gohan that Piccolo is losing his strength given his connection with Kami, and implores Gohan to step in. Just when it seems that Garlic Jr. has gained the upper hand, Gohan stops his finishing blow and catches the tyrant off guard. His slight increase in power pushes Garlic Jr. back, making him realize that Gohan is far stronger than he initially assumed. Meanwhile, Kami and Mr. Popo near the Earth's 7 air currents, but the past guardians remain firmly opposed to their mission, standing in the way of their only chance to reverse the Black Water Mist's effects. As the Machio star looms over Earth, its ominous glow casts an eerie light. The planet remains in chaos, ravaged by those infected by the Blackwater Mist. The scene then shifts to a tense standoff between Gohan and Garlic Jr. With the Machio star radiating power, Garlic Jr.'s muscles swell as he chuckles menacingly. Without hesitation, Gohan launches himself at Garlic Jr., delivering a relentless series of punches to his stomach, forcing the villain to cough up blood. As Gohan continues his brutal assault, Piccolo begins fading once again. Concerned, Krillin questions why Piccolo's arm is vanishing, prompting Piccolo to provide a brief but urgent explanation. It's because of Kami. The scene shifts to Kami, who's being mercilessly electrocuted by the former guardians of Earth. Mr. Popo pleads with him to stop, but Kami suddenly starts laughing. Confused, the guardians demand to know the reason behind his laughter, only for Kami to reveal that there is no joke, just the truth. He boldly calls them nothing more than bullies and delivers a speech, reaffirming his duty to protect the Earth. Back on the lookout, Gohan continues battling Garlic Jr. Realizing he has the upper hand, he decides it's time to finish him for good. With precision, he launches in and impales Garlic Jr. straight through the back. Just as victory seems near, Piccolo shouts a warning, it's not over yet. Gohan fires a powerful ki blast directly at Garlic Jr., engulfing him in the explosion. Silence follows for a few tense moments before Garlic Jr. emerges from the smoke, signaling that he's still alive. Laughing maniacally, he delivers a string of bad jokes as Gohan, Krillin, and Piccolo stand in awe. Krillin questions how Garlic Jr. is still alive, prompting Piccolo to explain that he used the Dragon Balls during his first visit on Earth to become immortal. As the smoke clears, Garlic Jr. rises, effortlessly regenerating the hole in his stomach. He then prepares to strike Gohan, but before he can land a blow, Piccolo suddenly intervenes, delivering a powerful kick to his face. As the battle rages on, Piccolo continues his assault against Garlic Jr., but his fading body leaves him unable to attack and vulnerable. Gohan, sensing the danger, rushes in to help, though Garlic Jr. easily swats away both him and Krillin with ease. Gohan, refusing to give up, makes another attempt, only to be knocked aside once more. As he struggles to regain his footing, Krillin, determined to turn the tide, tells Piccolo that they need to get up. At the same time, Garlic Jr. approaches the two downed warriors, exuding confidence. Krillin offers a plan to distract the villain long enough for Kami's return, which will restore Piccolo to full strength. In a sudden burst of energy, Krillin launches himself forward, delivering a direct kick to Garlic Jr.'s head. As Garlic Jr. challenges him, Krillin quickly charges up a Kamehameha and fires it at full force. Just before it makes contact, he abruptly redirects it straight upward. Garlic Jr. is caught off guard before the blast unexpectedly turns around completely, slamming into him and sending him crashing into the ground. Smoke erupts from the impact site, but before anyone can celebrate, Garlic Jr.'s hand comes up from the rubble. Screaming in rage, he towers over a surprised Krillin and grabs him by the head. Piccolo, furious, yells for Garlic Jr. to release Krillin immediately and throws a punch at his gut, only for the impact to be underwhelming as Piccolo's body fades once again. Garlic Jr. then seizes Piccolo's head as well, cackling with confidence as the heroes scream in pain. Meanwhile, at Korin Tower, Yajirobe snores loudly as Marin, shifting in her sleep, accidentally sticks her foot in his mouth. Startled, she shrieks, accusing Yajirobe of trying to bite her. Yajirobe groggily defends himself, explaining that she rolled over and put her foot there on her own. Marin then teases Yajirobe and shifts the conversation, cheeringly pointing out that they woke up just in time to see the sun rise. However, Korin, upon looking outside, realizes something is terribly wrong. The sun should have risen hours ago. Back at the lookout, Garlic Jr. continues crushing Piccolo and Krillin's head in his grasp when Gohan suddenly appears. The distraction provides just enough of an opening for the two to simultaneously kick Garlic Jr. in the face, forcing him to release them. Wasting no time, Piccolo latches onto Garlic Jr.'s head while Krillin seizes his leg, completely restraining him. Piccolo then shouts for Gohan to fire a ki blast, though the boy begins to doubt his ability to stop their mutual enemy. As the scene shifts, Kami is once again being electrocuted by the former Guardians, urging Mr. Popo to finish the mission. With only minutes remaining to neutralize the Blackwater Mist, Mr. Popo races forward, clutching the sacred water. Just as Gohan fires his blast, Piccolo begins fading once again, allowing Garlic Jr. the split-second opening he needs to escape. At the same time, Mr. Popo successfully reaches the 7 air currents and pours the sacred water into the hole. Immediately, its cleansing effect spreads across the globe. The once rabid, mist-controlled population begins reverting back to their normal selves. Garlic Jr., now realizing what's happened, watches in horror as his entire plan crumbles before him. With no more enslaved followers left to rule over, his frustration reaches its peak. In a desperate act of revenge, he powers up and reopens the dead zone, creating a massive vortex that begins pulling everything on the lookout towards its endless void. As the powerful winds threaten to consume them all, Gohan summons every ounce of his strength, creating a force field around himself and his allies, holding them securely in place as the chaos unfolds. Garlic Jr. laughs triumphantly, declaring that he will soon engulf not just the sanctuary, but the entire planet within the dead zone. Meanwhile, the 4 former Guardians of the Earth continue torturing Kami as the Namekian teeters on the brink of collapse. As the situation grows more dire, with Piccolo nearly gone and the remnants of the lookout tilting toward the dead zone, Piccolo makes a critical realization. Garlic Jr.'s strength is entirely dependent on the Makio star. Wasting no time, Piccolo urgently instructs Gohan to destroy it. However, Gohan remains steadfast, unwilling to release his shield. If he lets go, the gravitational pull could consume them all. Yet, without destroying the Makio star, all their efforts to reverse the effects of the Blackwater Mist and save the people of Earth will have been in vain. Meanwhile, Kami continues to struggle against the former Guardians until Mr. Popo steps forward, pleading with them to reconsider. He warns that unless Kami is set free, the Earth itself will be destroyed. Realizing the gravity of their mistake, the Guardians, after a brief dispute, relent and use their power to restore Kami to full strength and warp both he and Mr. Popo back to the sanctuary. As soon as they arrive, Piccolo is restored as well, angering Garlic Jr., who increases his power to expedite Earth's destruction. Kami and Mr. Popo attempt to ground themselves, but the weight of the dead zone pulls them away from the lookout. Understanding what needs to be done, Piccolo takes action and knocks the two back to safety, putting himself at risk in the process. As Garlic Jr. attacks Piccolo as he draws closer to the dead zone, the Namekian urges Gohan once more to destroy the Makio Star. Gohan, however, is still concerned for Krillin's safety. Krillin, in turn, escapes the safety of Gohan's shield so he no longer has to protect him. With nothing holding him back, Gohan finally lets go of the barrier. To Garlic Jr.'s utter disbelief, the young warrior channels all his energy into a full power Masenko and fires it straight at the Makio Star. The attack makes direct contact, obliterating the celestial body in a brilliant explosion. With the source of his power gone, Garlic Jr. watches in horror as his strength rapidly deteriorates. His body shrinks back to its original form, leaving him completely powerless. As he desperately tries to hold his ground, the dead zone's pull intensifies. Garlic Jr. is finally sucked back into his own vortex, vanishing into the endless void permanently. The scene then shifts to deep space, where Vegeta is seen inside a Capsule Corps spaceship. Determined and restless, he voices his unwavering desire to fight Goku and achieve the legendary status of a Super Saiyan. Back on Earth, Yamcha and the others are turned back to normal, and Chi-Chi can only think about how much trouble Gohan is in. At the lookout, Gohan fears the worst for his friends, but Kami and Mr. Popo emerge from the rubble, followed by Krillin and Piccolo. The battle-worn fighters reflect on their hard-fought victory. Piccolo turns to Gohan and, in a rare moment of praise, expresses how proud he is of him. Overwhelmed with exhaustion, Gohan finally collapses. Krillin grows worried, but Piccolo reassures him and the others that Gohan is simply drained of energy and just needs some well-earned rest. And with that, life back on Earth returns to normal, with everyone resuming their day-to-day lives. Days later, Krillin and Marin spend the day shopping together. During their outing, Krillin is caught off guard when he realizes that Marin has been entertaining thoughts of marriage. Just as he processes this revelation, Master Roshi suddenly calls everyone to his house, declaring an emergency. However, when they all arrive at Kame's house, they quickly learn that the emergency was nothing more than a ruse. Master Roshi had gathered them all to celebrate Turtle's 1000th birthday. As the celebration begins, Krillin and Marin make their entrance, and Krillin, still contemplating Marin's earlier comments, admits that the two might be getting engaged. Master Roshi immediately objects, declaring that Krillin can't marry anyone without his approval. He then goes so far to say that his condition for giving his blessing is that he must be the first one to kiss the bride. Disgusted, Bulma promptly whacks Master Roshi on the head, calling him a perverted old man. Later on, Krillin, plagued with self-doubt, begins to question whether he's truly worthy of Marin and ultimately decides that he should let go of the idea of marrying her. At that moment, Turtle arrives and suggests that if Krillin really wants to prove himself, he should seek out the legendary mermaid's tear, known as the largest pearl in the world. Inspired by the idea, Krillin sets off on a journey with Gohan to retrieve the pearl. Meanwhile, as Marin relaxes on a beach sunbathing, both Ox King and Master Roshi pretend to be admiring the ocean while secretly ogling her, much to Chi-Chi's irritation. When Marin finishes sunbathing, she casually walks over and seats herself next to Yamcha, leaning against him in an overly flirtatious manner. Before he can react, Bulma notices and storms over in a fury. She immediately begins scolding Marin, who only makes things worse with her carefree response. Chi-Chi, equally frustrated, joins in on reprimanding her. However, Marin, unfazed, playfully remarks that she finds the middle-aged ladies amusing. Bulma and Chi-Chi both freeze in disbelief, quickly realizing that Marin is referring to them. Trying to save face, Bulma attempts to deflect the insult by falsely implying that Chi-Chi is older than her. This backfires, leading the two women into an argument. Bulma boasts that she's the more beautiful one, while Chi-Chi counters that Bulma's so-called beauty is only thanks to the revealing outfit she wears. Meanwhile, when Krillin and Gohan reach the mermaid's tier, they discover that the sea creatures guarding the treasure are willing to fight to the death to protect it. Realizing that taking the pearl would only cause harm, Krillin and Gohan ultimately decide to leave it untouched. Sometime later, Krillin and Marin take a quiet walk along the beach. It's there that Krillin, having made his decision, tells Marin that he needs to set her free. Despite his outward composure, the weight of his decision lingers in the air. As he turns to walk away, Krillin hears Marin softly say that she would have said yes to his proposal. Shocked and realizing too late that he might have made a terrible mistake, Krillin calls out to her, but at that moment, a car pulls up beside her. Without hesitation, Marin gets into the car with another man and drives off, leaving Krillin standing devastated. Heartbroken, Krillin returns to Master Roshi's house and solemnly informs everyone that he chose to leave Marin. While Ox King and Master Roshi express sympathy for Krillin's heartbreak, Oolong remains skeptical, doubting Krillin's version of events and instead suspecting that it was Marin who actually broke up with him. Wearing sunglasses to conceal his tears, Krillin tries to maintain his composure, though it's clear that he's struggling. But what did you guys think of this saga? Did you enjoy it? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.